seeing Daniel Highshaw this spring, what stood out to you about the steps he's taken since last year?
Yeah, so, excuse my voice, guys. So, I was bragging on him earlier this morning, to the room. We spent a little bit of time bonding, every day when we get into our meeting room. And, just the resiliency. You talk about a guy that's literally been through everything, on and off the field. And every single day, he's super passionate about playing the game. Couldn't be more proud of just the steps that he's taken, and more specifically in his game of he really focused, and put a lot of energy into, his ball security throughout this spring ball. And, he's really done a really good job of taking what we're teaching in the classroom, what we're teaching on the field, and applying it in 11-on-11 football. And, the pass protection piece of it, that's still an area that he's wanting to improve at, getting off of the spot, closing the gap, closing the space on defenders, striking with tight hands, just all the little things. His vision has improved even, each and every single year, being a vertical and decisive back, and really even more so just even himself as a leader, and stepping up, being more vocal than probably he ever has been. And he's already a pretty vocal guy. He plays that way, and so just really proud of the steps that he's taken, in his game, both on and off the field, in his process and what he's doing in recovery, in the film room, in his own time. Really, really proud of what the steps that he's taken. So,
have you noticed a change in him since Devin's not here in terms of, hey, this is kind of his room now?
Sure. You could say that, right? I think any young man that's been in the program for as long as he has and has had the success that he's had, if I were him, I would probably have the same, sort of approach to it as well, but those guys are super competitive. LaShawn, Harry, Johnny, Carson, Micah, the whole room, those guys are doing a really good job daily of challenging each other and pushing each other to bring out the very best in each other. So, he's really, really, specifically to Daniel, he's really approaching it in that manner.
What was it about LaShawn that you really liked about what you saw from him at Iowa?
Sure.
How was that translated?
Yeah, the decisiveness, right, the physicality, the matureness that he kind of brings to the room, the experience. He's played a decent amount of football, in the Big Ten, and what he's kind of brought to the room. I like to say it's like a 2.0 of Daniel. He is a violent player, and he's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Those two, how much do you feel like that can help set the tone for a room, but also maybe the offense, that physicality? Yeah,
and that's what we talk about every day, right? Setting the tone for the offense, being a spark for the offense, whether that's with us running the football or even in protection, right? Those guys really, have taken that to heart, and they show up every single day to do that, to be the spark for the offense, right? And so really, really proud and really, really thankful that, and I mean that, I'm thankful to have the room that I have because those guys have really bonded together, have done a tremendous job of, being ultra competitive, right? But understanding that, off the field we're buddies, you know what I'm saying? And that's the type of culture that they've built, and even for Dev, like that's a legacy that he's kind of left behind as well, and really, really proud of just what those guys have been able to do within the room.
Jonathan, when you talk about Highshaw being more vertical and decisive in that way, how do you improve something like that? How do you work it? Is it just reps? Is it just seeing it? Is it film? What?
Yeah, I think it's all of it, right? And putting the guys in settings to do that. Every drill structure that we have, we want to finish in a vertical and decisive manner. Every cut that we make, every eye progression that we have, we want to get ourselves vertical. So training that through tracks, training that through Indy, really just setting and framing it for the guys within practice settings, but also in the film room. What should it look like on film, and what should it look like when we take the field, and piecing those things together for those guys. So in every aspect, in every facet, we are working towards those pieces, to make sure that that's occurring as ball carriers. And ultimately, we want to make sure, at the end of it, we want to make sure we're falling forward in all of it. So
With Daniel too, I mean, what's the evolution throughout his career, not just last year to this year? What's the evolution been like for a guy who, always looks to hit people,
yeah.
and now you want him to run away from people a little bit more? How have you?
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be so much of running away from people. At the end of the day, he I guess you could say he was a guy that wanted to seek out contact.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we want to create yards. We want to create extra yards. So getting on the soft shoulder of defenders is really imperative. It's another piece that we're teaching in the meeting room. And even in tight spaces on the first and second level, twisting and torquing our bodies in tight spaces, getting skinny, reducing ourselves horizontally, just all those components, right, to allow us to create yards. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's running away from people, but it's making them miss, it's dodging them, in those pieces. And so, but at the same time, being vertical players is ultra important. Because I think if you get that train going, right, and that train, I mean Deuce, I mean LaShawn, I mean Harry, right, all those guys. It's a force to be reckoned with, and that's where their strong suits are as backs.
I meant rear view, not
100%.
Not avoiding. I meant rear view.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
We've heard from a couple coaches about him being in a better headspace, Daniel Highshot. Just how do you see that borne out on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, one thing that I love that Daniel talks about, even for himself, is deciding that today is going to be a good day, every day that he wakes up. And I think that taking that approach, you think about all the pressures that these young men are going through nowadays. All the, you've seen it even in men's basketball as well. You guys know the storylines that are out there, but there's so many pressures and things that are happening that these guys, in some ways, can't control, right? And so at the same time, I'm really proud of how our guys are blocking it out. Finding ways and being creative to make sure they block out the noise. But also too uplifting each other, encouraging each other, empowering each other. I think that's what's really powerful about them of just coming together and making sure that they are in the right headspace, they are in the right mindset as they approach every single day. And I think us as leaders, as coaches, we have to model that for them, right? Because we face a lot of scrutiny, ourselves, probably more some than others, right? But at the same time, we have to learn and we have to teach how to model that for our young men. And I'm really proud of how he specifically, but all of them have done a really good job of managing that.
Lance said on Saturday the running back room's a little bit nicked up. What did Harry kind of show you this spring before getting banged up a little bit? Sure,
yeah. Harry has really grown a lot and becoming more comfortable in the offense. And, I think that his play speed has improved even more than what it has before. He showed confidence. He showed competence within what we're doing. The ability to, his balance, his run on contact, the contact balance that's there, his ability to catch the football out of the backfield is probably one of the best in the room. And so I'm really, really impressed, even so far, of what he was able to show. But I got to mention just his physicality. When he can get north and south, it's a lot of fun to watch because the young man has really good breakaway speed. So overall, I was really impressed just to see, over those practices what he was able to improve upon from this past season and last spring, and there's still a lot of work to do.
There was a clip of Johnny Thompson on social media the other day where he cut around like 4 different defenders. Just, I guess, what can that kind of elusiveness bring to your running back room? Yeah,
he has a unique skill set. He does a really good job of making guys miss in space, and and at times that also can get him in trouble. But needless to say, Johnny has really done a good job of sort of honing in on who he is as a player, right, and what he can do for us and this team. And I think that he's taken steps daily in his approach to continue to improve, right? And it's really exciting just to see even the growth and confidence that he's developing. And my hope for the young man is that he continues to show that all throughout the off season and even through fall camp.
And how do you manage being down a few bodies in your position group, like Kevin mentioned?
At the end of the day, we have to structure practice around, all of our guys. So we're still able to get a lot of reps for our young men. But at the same time, just doing what we're, setting the tempos for certain periods of practice. If we have to adjust those pieces, we will. But we've really had a great practice structure in order to make sure that we're still getting the reps that we need. So,
Jonathan, what's it been like with the chemistry with Zabrowski and now Lubick and you guys all working together?
No, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of brain power, in the room, and obviously there's tons of ideas that we can come up with, and I think one thing that we have done a really good job of is not overloading our guys. Right? We understand that there's a multitude of things that we can do offensively, especially with the personnel that we have at each spot. I mean, it's a lot of fun what you're seeing on a daily basis out of our players. And, but needless to say, I think the way that we have structured this, the way Coach Z has really structured the offensive staff, he's really done a great job of managing, in terms of what we want to put in, what we maybe want to wait on, things we maybe want to push later on in spring ball, so on and so forth. Just progressing our guys, because we do have a lot of new guys. And I think that has paid off throughout this spring because we've been able to install quite a bit, and our guys have been able to pick it up each and every single day. And so just allowing the young men to get their feet wet, but also get confident in what we're installing and teaching, has really allowed us to make some forward progress throughout this spring. So it's been really good.
Anything else, Coach Wallace?